A very good evening, one and all. I'm Diksha Desai on behalf of GDG and WTN Goa. I'm super excited to host today's session of Google Cloud Next Extended on Air by GDG West. This weekend again, we have an amazing lineup of speakers, and without much ado, let's get started. A few days back, I read this quote which said, "You're never too young or never too old to learn something." Our first speaker for the event is a perfect example of this. Rajesh Naik is a 12-year young programming prodigy. He claims to know 9 languages, and he also has already interned as a chatbot developer at a firm. So, without much ado, let's welcome Gajesh Naik. Over to you, Gajesh.
Hello everyone, welcome to this session on how to build a menu chatbot under 15 minutes. Now there are 3 simple steps to create a chatbot. First is to train it, next deploy it, and finally test it. Now let's first train it. Open a new tab and type dialogflow.cloud.google.com and hit enter. Next click on sign in with Google and select your Google account. Next, click on this icon, scroll down and click on create a new agent. Name it as menu chatbot and click on create. We have now successfully created a chatbot. Now let's first train it. We will create our first intent and name it as hello. Next, click on add training phases. Hello, hi, hey. Next, the bot will respond hi, hello. You. Next, click on save. We have now trained our chatbot a simple word that is hello. Next, click on this plus icon. We'll create another intent and name it as menu. Now add the training phases as menu. Show me the menu. Menu is menu is. Next, let's add the response as we have French fries, gobi Manchurian, gobi Manchurian, then pasta, noodles, and and papad. Now click on save. Next, again click on intent. Next, we'll create another intent and name it as French fries. French fries. Do you have French fries? Fries. Next, the bot will respond as yes. We have French fries. French fries. Click on save. Save. Now click on intents. We have now created three intents. First one is hello, then menu, and French fries. Now the next step is to deploy it. Click on integrations and click on web demo and toggle this button. Next we'll name it as menu chatbot GDG. In chatbot, yeah. Let's open this. Let's first. Now this is the final step, that is test it. Hello, how can I help you? Show me the menu. I want French fries. Here's the answer. Thanks everyone for listening this session. Please subscribe my channel, YouTube. Here's the link, youtube.com/GajeshSnaik. And do check out my website, techwithgajesh.com. And if you have any queries about Dialogflow or their integrations, go to api.ai. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that amazing session, Gajesh. Next up, we have Dharmesh Vaya. Dharmesh Vaya is a Google developer expert in cloud, and today he is going to teach us no-code app development using AppSheets. Over to you, Dharmesh.
All right. Hi, everyone. That was an interesting talk by Gajesh. Nice to see such young folks like kind of doing some fantastic work with Dialogflow in their school days. So our next topic for today's session is mainly around no-code app development, and specifically with a product called as AppSheet. Now, what is AppSheet? What exactly is no-code development? We'll see it in this talk. So, hi everyone, this is Dharmesh Vaya. I have been like kind of speaking since, I mean, in a lot of these conferences these days, and you all might be knowing me as a Google developer expert into cloud and payments, and I also lead the technology at Agraya Technologies. We are a GCP partner as well. So with that, let's get started on today's talk. But first, let us try to understand the fundamental difference between low code versus no code app development. So this talk might not be like heavy around something like Android development or mobile development, but it is more specifically related to AppSheet and how you can kind of solve some basic business problems using these kind of no code app platforms. But for that, let us first try and understand what exactly is low code versus no code, and then we'll move to AppSheet as a product, as a platform, and then try to see what's around AppSheet. And we'll see some beautiful demos around that, and then try to understand it. So first, let us try and see and understand the fundamental difference between low code versus no code. So what happens is like, I mean, it's pretty much easy to get confused between these two terminologies used very widely across the industry. However, if I had to like kind of say it like in one-liners, low code is meant for developers, but they are given a set of tools, solutions, something ready-made in their IDEs, which would help them like speed up their application development. But they still will do a lot of coding by their hands itself. So when I say like by their hands, it is more like you still have to code a lot in low code, which means that your IDEs are capable enough to build boilerplate code, to import libraries, and so on and so forth. So you can say that like Kotlin within IntelliJ, there are many such solutions available which will help you develop applications in a low code manner. Also, certain RPA platforms like robotic process automation platforms are also termed as low code platforms. You still can code a lot of macro scripts along with those RPAs, but then you still have to code a lot. Versus that, we'll see something of no code platform. So no code solutions are basically meant for like citizen developers. You are not really a developer, but you have some strong like business problem to solve. You don't know the programming languages, but you still want to like kind of develop some prototype, some product, and that is where these no code solutions would come into play. So if I had to sum that, low code would still require you to do a lot of coding, but in a very minimal manner, and you can build up your actual code much faster by having some ready solutions, boilerplate code, and so on. No code is easily like a plug and play. You just start building it directly by itself. You don't get too many options in no code as such. They would be limited by the number of features that you can build in that in no code platforms, and that is where these solutions would come into picture. So today's talk, we are going to focus more towards the no code side of thing and not the low code ones. Okay. And specifically in no code, there is something called as AppSheet, which is a product which got acquired by Google early 2020. And now it's a part of the Google suite of products itself. So you can say it's under the cloud platform, or it can be under the business suite of services that Google provides. So our talk will be focused around these four major sections, which is like understanding the AppSheet fundamentals. Then we try to develop a small app, understanding what will be the typical use cases where these kind of apps would work, and certain roadmaps for the next steps or for the future. Like you can say like whether these can do machine learning, whether this can do predictive modeling, and so on and so forth. So that is what our next 20-25 minutes or half an hour would look like in terms of understanding the flow of the application, specifically in terms of the AppSheet platform. So let us start by understanding the fundamentals of this platform. Okay, so any no code platform, if you kind of generalize them, okay, they are heavily dependent on data. Now you just have to provide them data in such a manner that it can be in a meaningful structure for yourself or for the app to be shaped up. Okay, so just take an example of an Excel sheet. It can be an employee data, it can be an inventory data, it can be your customer data, it is very much a structured form of data that you store somewhere. It can be in an Excel sheet, it can be in a database, like a Dropbox file, anywhere, any such integrations are possible. What AppSheet does is tries to kind of pick the relevant columns from these data sets and presents it in a manner that you can start interacting with it. So if you take a very simple example of an Excel sheet, okay, you know that the Excel sheet that you have for, say, for example, an employee data, what all fields you'll have like the employee details, employee number, maybe the employee department, employee manager, salary, leaves, balances, and so on. Okay, so all this data is a very structured data. Now you can start building actions on top of this. What are the actions that you'll build on top of this? So if I talk in a plain Excel format, let's say you want to add or subtract leaves. So every month you want to kind of add leaves to that employee's record. So let's say you add 2 leaves every month on that. So there has to be an action on top of that, correct? So for an Excel, what you're going to do is you are going to say, for example, add it like a formula, or you're going to add it as a macro or something like that. Versus what you can do is, if you kind of so this is a very small use case. I'm sure you're not going to build an app for such a small use case, but consider that whole employee suite from an ERP perspective. You want to add leaves, you want to manage their records, salaries, balances, and a lot more. So with that comes the feature of AppSheet, okay, where you kind of have this data already present in your Excel, okay, and you kind of integrate that with AppSheet, and then AppSheet builds actions on top of that. So if you see these three fundamental blocks of the AppSheet architecture, it's like you have your data, you have your app, okay, which is kind of linked to the data, and your live app is nothing but actions on top of your data. So that is the whole fundamental behind AppSheet and building apps on top of that. So what basically do you need to do in terms of the process flow? So as I mentioned, in that 3-step process, it's basically just some more additional steps when you start building an application. So first and foremost, you need to have your data set ready. Of course, you can gradually or incrementally build your data set or even modify your data set. So say, for example, you start very small with your employee records. Now you add departments, you add managers, and so on. That can be done even after you develop an app. Maybe your team is expanding, you have to add locations and so on. So that can be done even after you kind of start developing your app. But first and foremost, your data has to be present. So first step is basically your data. Prepare your data and then connect that data to AppSheet. Okay, the second step would be, now your data is there, now let's start building actions on that. Okay, you can define as well as refine certain workflows, reports, and so on. Sorry. And basically build your action flows for your application. Now these actions can be as good as, like, say, for example, an e-commerce flow or an employee flow, as we were talking about. Okay, say there is an inventory, you want to like build an e-commerce application where you check whether a product is in stock, then you allow it into the cart. If not, you don't allow that, and so on. So these are the typical workflows that you can think of. Similarly, like for the employee side of things, if a leave balance is present, you kind of allow the employee to take a leave, else it will go into a negative leave balance or a loss of pay or something like that. Then the important part is then if these are the platforms like low code app development and so on, or rather no code, how do you define the security? So there are certain features within AppSheet that allow you to define security settings for your app, which means that whether someone needs to log into the app and then perform the actions, or can it be done by guest users. so that your data still remains secured and as per the standard benchmarks of any application. And finally, you kind of go ahead, test, deploy with real users, and deploy and share your app. And with the premium edition or the enterprise edition, you can also like customize these applications, white label them, and also like even you can get your APKs for these apps and then deploy them onto the app store itself. So with that, let's try to build a very small app and see what are the features available in AppSheet, and then try to explore something around it. So let us get started. So if you have to like kind of start with AppSheet, you just have to go to appsheet.com. Okay, we'll just rebrowse that. Yeah, it says the intelligent no code platform. I already had an account created. You can like create a free account and log in with your Google credentials itself and start building apps. Now, this is basically the console, as simple as possible. Okay, you can either do a new app from here, or I had some existing apps lying around this, so I can pick from them. Or for the purpose of demo, we'll see some of the new apps from here. So what I can do is I can start with my own data. Now this data can be residing like an Excel sheet, it can be a database or something of that sort. Or I can start with an idea wherein I just, if I click here, yeah, what kind of data does your app have? So let's say I say products. Okay, so you want to it'll start building suggestions for you. So user track the current stock of products, which is more like inventory management. The app has a collection of products, or users want to leave comments on a product, so it's more like a review thing or an e-commerce thing, and so on. So you have your ideas ready on what you want to define in terms of the business problem that you're trying to solve, and you can start building apps around it. So for the purpose of demo, let's try to build an app with our own data set. So if I have to like kind of do an app which is say for this is for CTG Goa, let's choose a category. So you see this the category that is available, it's like tons of categories available, right from like surveys or inventory management, sales, CRM, planning, project management, education, manufacturing, operations, e-commerce, and a lot more. So you see that there are tons of uh, you know business cases that you can potentially solve with AppSheet in a very quick and cost efficient manner. So let's pick something like inventory management, the next step is basically choosing your data. Now the next console pops up. Where did that go? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So next step. Okay, it's not allowing me somehow. Let me refresh. Okay, somehow it's like not allowing me anything to choose my data, and that's the usual cases with demo. So what I'll do is like kind of let's try once more with a sample app. Okay, so demo 2, save app to. Okay, let us do inventory management again. Like let's do. Okay, so there it comes. Like I think it was a bit slow, probably it was the network. And you see that in the previous step which I was doing, it is now asking me where should I select the file from. So I had created a file. I'll open that file and show you what exactly that is. And it is kind of setting up the app based on the file that is available. Let me open that file for you. Yeah, here it goes. And where did that go? Okay. this was faster. Yeah. Okay. So what I had done is like I created a very simple kind of an inventory tracker for like my warehouse, and the warehouse is like meant to store different types of fruits. So I named the different types of fruits that are there in my warehouse, and then what is the category of the product, whether it's a fruit, vegetable, or something of that sort that you can store in a warehouse. Now I'm just having images of these fruits that I have like kind of stored them on my Google Drive. Okay, and these are certain parameters that I'll use to kind of keep a check on the inventory. So this is like whether the fruits are, so how many inventories are available, at what time did I last check in them, what is the unit price for them, and this will be the inventory value. I've just temporarily placed the order quantity as 1, and you can also have your barcodes entered over here. So this is just an example app. So like kind of I picked it from a template, and let's go back to our app. So this is what the console of your application would look like. So you'll see that there are these 6 main tabs over here, which is like your info, your data, your UX, behavior, security, and intelligence. We'll briefly see what these are meant for, and then we'll see into like what are the feature sets that are available. And on the this center pane that you are seeing over here, that is basically where you can do different types of actions, or basically all your no code events in order to develop your app. And on the right hand side over here, you can see a simulation of the app. So as if you kind of make any changes and you want to like kind of uh, make that available on your app, just kind of press this refresh button, and it will sync the app and kind of make it available. So now our app was kind of, the boilerplate was built. Okay, now let's go to the data and see like how it has actually mapped. So if I go over here, so it's like kind of asking me whether I can update it, whether I can add, whether I can delete, and so on. Okay, and it is giving me like what exactly my data source is. So in this case, my data source is a Google Sheet. This is the doc ID, and so on. And in terms of security, right now, like this is available only in the pro plan, where I can, as an app creator, I can access the sheet, but not as an app user. With that, let us see like how the columns are basically mapped. So if I show you this particular Excel sheet, it is like a very plain simple Excel sheet, and I haven't specified anywhere in this header or in this values that what type of like field this is going to be, whether this is a text, whether this is a price. So even this is a numerical value, even this is a numerical value. This is a date time, this is a link, but it is of a type as image. I haven't specified anything anywhere. Okay, but if you say in terms of app sheet, you'll see that the name, it kind of picked that as a name. The category, it picked this as a text. Image, it picked it as a URL. Okay, now it if you see the different categories over here, there are like tons of different categories that you can see over here, which is like date, time, decimal, duration, email, enums, numbers, percentage, phone number, text, thumbnail, time, URL, and a lot more, and even like a video or something. So here the image got picked as a URL since we shared it as a Google Drive link. Okay, and then if you see the rest of them, like available was more of a quantity, so that's why it got picked up as a number. Whereas based on certain keywords, like if this header contained price or value or something of that sort, okay, it automatically got selected as price. And you see that over here that this value that is coming over here, it automatically got the currency symbol in if I go into my inventory value over here, I haven't specified it as a currency value or a price field, but in my app it got selected automatically. So that's certain, like, the core aspects of AppSheet, where you kind of have all these things taken care of, and you only worry about how your data is to be represented and what are the actions that need to be performed on top of that. So with that, like that's more about how we are going to play with data. And let's move on to the UX side of things. In very basic sense, like if you see over here, uh, yeah. Okay. So if I have to like kind of share, what are the different ways in which these products can be represented. Okay. You see that what should be my view type, whether it's like a deck, whether it's like a table. So let's like kind of select a table. So you see that it automatically got changed over there. Whether I want to display it like a gallery, whether like has details, tabs, and so on. Okay, so it gets automatically selected. So let us try to refresh and see if the images are coming, and let us try to pick one from here. I guess there is some issues with the images. Let us try to pick a card type and see. Okay, perhaps some issues with the type of image file over there, and that is why it's not displaying. But yeah, that's okay. It might be the format of the image that is causing a problem. So it really depends on what format you want to display it, like whether I want it like a gallery, whether I want it as a dashboard. Of course, for this thing, dashboard might not work, but yeah, a card, a deck, or a table would be something which is very much appropriate in terms of showcasing it as in a representable format. Also, you have different options over here to kind of sort by, group by, or even aggregate them if you are specifically playing with reports, or even if like these are categories. So say for example, here I had different types of like products. Okay, and some of them would be like, say for example, vegetables, and I want to group by vegetables. What I can do is select that particular column and then group by like say the category, and then it would do the task. In this case, it is going to remain as is because these are all of the same. Okay, so if let's try to kind of categorize these into vegetables. Okay, the sheet is saved. Okay, now let's try to resync this. Okay, so you see this, these got categorized into fruit, these got categorized into vegetables. Almost real time. As soon as you make changes into your data, it gets reflected onto your app as well. So just imagine the kind of platform or the potential this platform has. You don't have to actually worry about any of the coding aspects for this. Then we come to the next part, which is mainly the behavior. Okay, so I would say the behavior is more like if you have anytime played with tools like IFTTT, which is like if this then that. Okay, it works in a very similar manner. It's also like a macro driven or something like a no code tool where you want to perform certain action, okay, based on a particular set of conditions, and then based on those conditions you want to take some post step or some action on top of that. So it is very much similar. You want to add some action, say for example, that action can be anything like say for example, an product got added, or a category equals to, say for example, veg. Okay, so if a new category gets added, okay, uh, and this is just the action. Okay, now there will be a workflow. Okay, so workflow is if a new category gets added, inform the app owner or the warehouse manager or something like that. So in this case, I add a new workflow. Okay, this workflow will then be available over here. So if you see this action over here in terms of the new workflow, okay, which is like when this happens, if this is true, or do this, and so on. Okay, so when this happens, it is like as good as so it is asking like which is my target data, so where should the change be taking place. So the change is taking place in the sheet that is available, and then what kind of update you want, and if this is true, what should I be doing. So in this case, like condition, say for example, uh, it is my, so you need to follow a bit of syntax over here, but it is kind of very much order quantity is 2. Okay, so before firing the action, check the condition and then do this. So in this case, like I can probably save the file as, or download it, or kind of change any data. So if you want to like change any inventory values, you can do that, or also like email, notify, or SMS. So I think the SMS and the SMS feature might be more of a pro feature, which might not be available. Okay, the email part is something that we can do over here. So notify if notify as order quantity changed. Okay, to whom do you want to notify? Let's say I notify myself dot p at. Okay, so I enable this rule, and I can add more folks over here. So let's say gdg cloud west at gmail.com. I enable this rule for them, and I can add like tons of like email users over here. Then I can specify like what my email content looks like. So I can give my subject that, okay, so I can say that the subject, I'll keep it same over here. Right now, I'll just specify something as changed in order quantity, and also this can be made dynamic, and you can add some CC people and BCC people in this. So that's on the workflow side of things. So you can do different types of actions over here, and before even deploying that, you can test your actions over here. So let us try to see if this works, and then let's wait for it to deploy. Okay, it's still loading, and in the meanwhile, let us try to kind of, okay, and here you can then add some reports based on like if you want to generate a new report. So since this is more of an inventory management system, I want a daily report of the stock at a particular time, and in that case, like I kind of generate a report daily at a scheduled time for the table which is given over here, and create a report for all of this. Again, here also you can do, if the condition is true, do this, which is again email or notify or save the file in my Google Drive or somewhere, and that should do the task for you. So you can see that in terms of the behavior or the actions and workflows, there is a lot of actions and workflows that you can think of. And let us see, I think it fired an email to me. Sorry, I won't be able to show. Okay, yeah, I think I got a notification on my mailbox, but like, yeah, it's just a small notification that came across that we typed over there, and it kind of appeared in my inbox since I tested that rule. So that kind of sums up more around the different actions and workflows that you can think of in terms of designing this application, and different reports that you can generate in a scheduled manner. You can email them, you can save them, and do different actions on top of that. Then let us see, like security, very basic security filters are available. If you want the users to sign in before using the app, you can do like a simple toggle based enabling. Okay, also if you see over here, there are different auth providers available. So whether you want like a Google sign in, a Dropbox sign in, Microsoft sign in, these different integrations are possible. But this is specifically meant for like enterprise use cases where there is a lot of data that kind of is available, and you have to like kind of link them and so on. With that, like kind of you can say that allow all signed in users, or you want to enable or disable them and so on. And also you can have a list of users that you can manage over here. Then there are security filters that you can do, but yeah, most of these like are available in the pro plan, so we'll not get into that. And if it's like on a higher tier of plans, there is a domain authentication. So let's say certain apps you want to use only for your organization. So say for example, let's say GDG West is the organization and your domain name is gdgwest.com, and if only those users should be made available, you can do a domain authentication as well, and it integrates with your Active Directory and so on. So that is one way to manage security, so your application data and everything remains safe. Let us try to like kind of see one more example in terms of like let us pick something like an app from within the templates that are available. So let us see a template app, and let us pick some different categories. So let's pick something like education and training. And say for example, we create an instructional app. So let's say you want to like kind of uh, you know uh, create a help manual for a product. Say for example, you're taking a computer and you want to create a help manual for that. So of course I know you folks are all from CDG, you might not require that. But say for example, you are building this app for like native users who do not have too much of awareness around assembling of information or so on. Okay, but yeah, with this you can likewise build that thing. So you see this, this is more like a step-by-step instruction of what it's more like a template app. So here you'll see that how to set up a Windows desktop, or how you set up a Mac, how you set up an email, and set up voicemail and something like that. Okay, so these are like template apps that are readily available within AppSheet. You just have to like kind of pick this, modify it as per your requirement, and then you are ready to go. So say for example, instead of Windows desktop, let's say you have a very custom product, say for example Raspberry Pi, and you want to like kind of give instruction steps to kind of make them available, or how to set up a Pi with any additional tools or features. So you just set up this, and then like if you go into columns, you'll see that over here there are like these are steps, images, description, and website. So again, these are linked. If I want to view my table, okay. So if I go over here, view source, okay. So you see this, it's like if I click on view source, it is like each sheet on my workbook is like each of my tabs or different products that I want to link. And these are the different images that I have for each step. So this is like all the
Welcome back, everyone. I apologize for the technical glitch. We would request you all to kindly place the comments back again in the comment section. And we have Dharmesh again with us, and he would be taking up with your queries and helping you all with your doubts. So, can I please request you all to place the comments and your doubts and your questions, which are there for Dharmesh, back again in the chat section? Thank you so much. We're waiting for you all to place your comments again. So, we have Dharmesh with us. Thank you so much for joining again, Dharmesh.
no problems, no problems. That's fine. All right. So I'm not sure like where we broke. I think we almost broke at this demo. That was, yeah. I'll just quickly run through this demo again, which is more of an app which is doing like a tutorial kind of a feature. And I was showing over here that okay, let's go to the source of this. So if this is the data set that you want to work with, which is like different products that are available, and you want to showcase the steps or the tutorial for that, you go to view source, and like again you can see that your entire workbook has different sheets over here, which is like set up a Windows desktop, set up a Mac desktop, set up an email, voicemail, and so on. So each of these tabs that you see are just different steps for each product that you want to showcase as a tutorial. And you can say that your entire tutorial is more like a structured Excel sheet. So I mean, honestly speaking, like Excel sheet is the best thing that to develop any app. You kind of structure all your data sets over there and then start building apps on top of that. So that's how like app sheet works, or probably was designed. And as the name suggests, it is app sheet. So designing an app from a sheet. So these are your steps. These are the relevant images, and then there is a description which is like what that step needs to be performed. So that's what basically carries over there. So let us probably see this app in action. If I have to like kind of see this and open it in a separate tab, this is like available as like this, since this is more of a tabulated view, I would say. So see this, like unpack your components, and then I can just slide through the different steps. So here it will show me like what are these steps. It will show me the relevant graphics and so on, and then I can perform those steps as a user. Again, like the same kind of app behaviors or features can be incorporated into any app, and you can likewise build different apps on top of these, like in terms of app sheet. So that's more about the demo. So if I have to like kind of sum up the demo, it is like you're preparing your data, you're connecting your data to the app sheet, you refine how your app uses or presents the data, which is like where you are kind of so when I say refine how your app is using or presenting the data, it can be more like a UX where you want to do it in a tabulated form, you want to present it in a deck format, and so on. It's the different like kind of layers that you can think of while developing an app. And then you define your actions, workflows, and then add any notifications on top of that, and you define your security settings after that. Then you test, deploy, and share it with the end user. So when you kind of share this app, so if you are on the free tier, what would happen is the end users would need to need to download something called app sheet itself on your Play Store. Okay, and within that app sheet you just have to share your app link, and it gets automatically deployed on their phones, or rather installed on their phones. So what are like the ready solutions that are available? So as I was showing during the demo, apps from app sheets, like there are a ton of apps that you can readily build and readily available. Let me like once more like kind of show something that will be of interest. So if I kind of show app sheet to you. Okay, so if I see over here, like just go to sample apps on app sheet. Okay, and just see the sample templates that are available, right from manufacturing inventory to a package delivery management, or it can be a code proposal or an invoice management system. It can be something like a sales lead tracking application. So it's more like your CRM systems, your inventory, project management. If you're like working on different individual projects and you want to manage a small team, this is like the best thing if you don't want to invest in any like heavy tools like Jira, Atlassian, and so on. But yeah, both have its pros and cons. So you'll have like different features available out here. Something like any custom checklist that you want, or like you want something like a party invitation or a party RSVP app, or an event RSVP, anything of that sort. Expense trackers, manuals, a lot that you would not have even thought of. Like I mean, any business case or business use case that you can think of. Okay, all these are kind of readily available, like say for example timesheet, IT ticketing, all the basic use cases of any typical business is like kind of readily available. So whether it is in the field, okay, so say for example like on the field like sales, or even like as you saw like rig management and so on in oil fields and so on, or last mile deliveries, whether it is on the floor like any IT project management, or in the office. So let's say it is more of like attendance, HR management, and so on. Everything of that sort is kind of available, okay, in terms of what you can do with AppSheet. So ready solutions, you just build as per your use cases, as per your data sets, and you can have your apps deployed in like absolutely no time. So you just saw like we developed a very small inventory app in like literally no time, and then got it running. So like what now can be the next steps for such platforms? So ideally I would say like we will talk a bit around machine learning. So you would say like, how did I get into like from AppSheet no code to machine learning, which is like those scary areas where you'll have to do a lot of maths and concepts and around modeling data and so on. But then just understand that the basis of machine learning is a lot of real-time data, and these apps or apps that you can build like these in a very quick jiffy manner is something that is going to give you a lot of data in real time, and which is also going to help fine tune your models, or you can generate a lot of data with a lot many users without having to make complicated applications. So if it is like just generating your geolocation of different employees, your users, anywhere that they are accessing from, they can be like easily integrated. Since these are Excel sheets which are kind of being populated, just understand that if I tell you in a higher term landscape, Excel sheets, you link it into your cloud storage. From there, it kind of links to your machine learning models and so on. So uh, that's like the next phase of what these apps can transform into. These are the very much basis to kind of improvise your machine learning models. Also, like if I have to like show one more example, let's go back to our console, and if I just open any template app. Yeah, so if you see over here, like I had shown these info, data, UX, behavior, security, but you see here there is something called as intelligence. Okay, this is actually something what I'm talking about. It's like it helps you build predictive models within your app itself. So even this is like you can call it as no code machine learning also can be developed in these kind of applications. So what it helps you is, say for example, you're building something like an e-commerce kind of an app, and over a period of time you have collected a lot of data with users and so on, and you specify that these are the typical fields that a user is going to look at while purchasing a product. So you map them in your which columns to predict. So if you see over here, it is basically asking me like which columns. Okay, so this was more of a training app, so it is not showing anything. But if I pick my inventory app, and it is like expecting me that which category of products are going to be in demand based on the models that I have developed. Okay, that is something that it will allow me to do from here itself, and I'll get very much real-time insights within the app in terms of building these kind of prediction models in AppSheet. So that's basically the next phase of building apps in no code. You can also have your predictive models incorporated into it without having to worry about any complications around the model. Since this is more data centric and data driven, you will only be having to map which columns are you kind of interested to build predictions, and then you just link them, and you're ready to fire up with these models. So with that, I would suggest to try it out yourself. It doesn't cost anything except your internet and your time, and it's something that you can kind of readily build prototypes, share it amongst your peers, your any demos that you're building. You don't have to wait. Like if specifically if you are a business or a salesperson, you don't have to wait for your developers to kind of build it for you. You build it out yourself, and then like let the developers improve upon it. So your idea or your business case matters, and you just start building on top of that. So go try it out yourself. It is just appsheet.com, and it's absolutely free. So that's it for this talk from my side. That's me, Dharmesh. You can reach out, connect to me on LinkedIn, that is Dharmesh Vaya, or on Twitter at DRVAYA. I'm based at Agraya Technologies. We are also a Google Cloud partner. So anything related to cloud, just reach out to us on agraya.com/cloud as well. So yeah, that's all from my side. And if there are any questions, I would be really glad to take them up. Yeah.
If you have any questions for Dharmesh, kindly type them in the live chat below and he would be willing to answer them. He's still around.
Okay, so I see one question. I think it's on the private chat. It's from Gajesh. Can I add ads in the app with the app sheets? Okay. So Gajesh, not really. You can do that, but then you'll have to like kind of add those embeddings into your sheet itself so that you can pull those ads over there. But natively, it is not supported to add ads into these app sheet like projects that you can think of. Natively you can't, but yeah, using any tabulated sheets or within those columns you can add your ads over there.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dharmesh, for that amazing session.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dikshita. Yeah.
With that, we come to an end of the last session of the 9-week Google Cloud Next Extended by GDG West. Thank you so much for joining in. But before we wrap, allow me to have the honors to propose the vote of thanks to the team who has worked really very hard behind this event. I wish to extend my gratitude to Sanjay Ramani, Ramya, Dharmesh Vaya, Maitreyi, Karthik Derasari, Parth Jansari, Akshay, Drone, Hirendev, Sohail Patan, Dhara Vihol, Neerav, and last but not the least, Fez. Thank you so much to the team of Google Cloud Next on air by GDG West. I hope to see you all again next time. Good day.